The Phoenix Suns are set on drafting him. The young point guard, Tyler Kolek, is being looked at by the Phoenix Suns at pick 22, according to Hoop Type and Michael A. Scotto. But James Jones, who has been known to trade draft picks, and with Matt Ishbia in this team saying at the beginning of the offseason the draft picks are on fire sale, what could this mean for the Phoenix Suns? Will they trade their picks? Will they go into that young youth point guard that they desperately need? We'll be diving into all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. But before we dive in, before we get into all of this news, if you guys are part of the 83% of our viewers who are not subscribed but do enjoy the daily content coming to you guys on Suns Digest, we ask to hit that subscribe button as this is the daily place for news revolving around this squad. With the draft coming up in about a week, with the offseason getting closer and closer, we'll have everything revolving around this team from free agency to in the coaching staff. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date, hit that subscribe button as we try to get to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Without further ado, though, let's dive into the topic at hand and let's talk about the Suns possibly keeping their draft pick and drafting who they are supposed to selectively draft, which is Tyler Kolek. If we want to look at this pick from Twitter from Suns Are Better, we can see that the Suns reportedly want to draft Tyler Kolek per hoops hype of Michael A. Scotto, and that makes sense. He is a sentimental floor general who has some great offensive and defensive capabilities and could be a very good NBA ready product. He can fill the holes of the Suns who desperately need a point guard off the bench, and he went to a solid college in Marquette where he was a valuable contributor for a good Marquette squad in the Big East, but also a good contributor for a point guard in college basketball. Now, if we want to look at this tweet here from Brandon Clean, he is a Suns reporter. He said the Suns are not going to have a surefire starting point guard this summer, and no matter how many fans want it, a good backup is the best that they can do. Question if that is rookie Tyler Kolek or if it's not. So I asked Brandon and kind of gave him my thoughts on the opinion on Twitter, giving him my feedback, saying that I feel that a guy like Tyler Kolek can be a similar TJ McConnell type point guard that the Suns have wanted in the past, but they can also develop. Now, obviously, a guy in TJ McConnell has been solid for the Pacers in this playoff run and is an aging veteran. I don't see him leaving anytime soon. But he's a solid playmaker, solid player with a good assist to turnover ratio, and can get this team set up. Taking another veteran on the minimum, I think, also wouldn't hurt as well. As if it doesn't work out with that veteran, you can either add him with a bunch of other veterans in another similar deal, which you were able to get Royce O'Neal at the trade deadline. Or if Kolek were to overperform, then you can move off said veteran. Now, if Kolek were to underperform or not maybe live up to, his 22 overall pick, then you at least have that solid veteran to kind of hold in and play that veteran point guard minutes. That's kind of my thoughts. That's kind of my opinions. I want to know what you guys think down below, so drop them, your thoughts and your opinions down below. Do you guys think Tyler Kolek would be a smart guard or a smart decision for the Phoenix Suns to draft? And that kind of gets into our next part here, which is this a good move for the Phoenix Suns? Now, as you guys know, from CJ and from myself, we have been screaming that this Phoenix Suns team needs a point guard, and ultimately going into this draft route, I think might be the best scenario for this Phoenix Suns squad. As you guys know, and as we've broken down on a plethora of our videos, the Suns are strapped in the second apron, paying Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker $50 million in contracts to each of them individually this season. That straps the Suns up to around $150 million, leaving them around $20 to $30 million for the rest of their roster, with Nurkic making around 16 to 18, Royce O'Neal going to be getting an extension this offseason reportedly from the Phoenix Suns, and with Grayson Allen already receiving a big-time extension with this Phoenix Suns team, we already know that the Suns are going to be in the second apron, regardless of the fact if they make moves or if they don't. They are straddled with a bunch of cap, and the only way really to make moves for this roster is to trade some of their smaller, younger contracts, or possibly working around the edges to bring in some better veteran minimum contract deals to help fill out this roster. So ultimately, going with a young point guard in Tyler Kolek, I think, is the smart decision. I've obviously, if you guys don't know this, went to school at Seton Hall. So I went to a school in the Big East where I got to watch Tyler Kolek cook against Seton Hall for multiple years. Now, obviously, last year I wasn't there, but I did see Tyler Kolek do solid with Marquette, leading them once again to a 2 seed in the March Madness tournament and leading them to a pretty good overall bid in the tournament itself. Maybe he got further than they did last year, and maybe it wasn't the furthest that Marquette would like to go. Tyler Kolek is a still great leader, great point guard itself, and can also handle the ball and do everything that the Suns need him physically to do. Like I mentioned, he's a little similar to a TJ McConnell type, someone who can have great assist to turnover ratio, has great, physicality of playing and being the ball in his hands and setting up the offense as a point guard, but necessarily doesn't need to finish out the games. And that's something that we've talked about with this Phoenix Suns squad. Yes, they need a point guard to set up their offense, get their offense going, and to find guys like Beal, Booker, and Kevin Durant open as shooters, but they necessarily don't need a point guard to finish the game. Guys like Booker, Beal, and Kevin Durant have the playmaking ability to finish out the game alongside Royce O'Neal and a big time big, a big, regardless if that's Nurkic or that's someone that they go out in the trade deadline and get, or they could ultimately go smaller, either replacing a guy in Beal, Booker, or Grayson Allen due to the fact of them not having a bad shooting night, or having some foul trouble out of the starting lineup and instantly replacing either Kolek or another veteran minimums type esque point guard who can kind of fill in that role. We'll have another video coming out either later today or tomorrow, kind of breaking down who that veteran point guard could be for this Phoenix Suns squad. But ultimately, I want to know your guys' thoughts, dropping them down below in the comment section, revolving around Tyler Kolek and revolving around the possibility of getting another veteran minimum guard. To kind of look back and kind of dive back in on this Phoenix Suns team, we can see as well from looking at this article here provided by Dwayne Ranking, talking about how the Suns could go after Tyler Kolek, that a second team All American Kolek would address Phoenix's need at point guard. Former Suns head coach Frank Vogel reportedly wanted a traditional point guard, but the front office didn't. Vogel was fired after one season as Phoenix was the first team eliminated from the 2024 playoffs. The Suns wanted the ball in the hands of the big three of Booker, Durant, and Beal, and having a point guard may have disrupted that dynamic. But the Suns were 25th in the NBA in turnovers per game and were bottom 5 in assist to turnover ratio. With new Suns head coach Mike Budenholzer said after his introductory conference, the Suns probably need a point guard. Kolek, like I mentioned, is a fantastic assist to turnover ratio guard, as he posted over 239 assists to just 89 turnovers in 31 games in only his senior season at Marquette in 2023 and 2024. He also shot 38.8% from three-point range as he averaged 15.3 points on around 50% shooting overall from the field. His agent is also Mark Bartelstein of Priority Sports, who is the father of Suns CEO Josh Bartelstein. So to kind of go into some more depth and just go more detail there, we've already seen the Suns, kind of use some front office tactics with agents and family members to secure Bradley Beal into Phoenix. And ultimately, that didn't work. So some fans might be skeptical seeing Tyler Kolek also having those relations with a family member in the front office being, please don't trade for him. Please don't sign him. Please don't draft this guy. Do not do that. But ultimately, I think that that would be the smart decision. Getting a young point guard who has the fundamentals and the abilities to be a great, type of guy, similar to TJ McConnell, similar to a Tyus Jones, probably similar to a Dennis Schroeder-esque type point guard, which truly I think these Suns could use, especially at his young age. With these players like Durant, Booker, and Beal getting older, some of these guards possibly even wanting out in the future in a trade, having a guy like Kolek to be that replacement guard, regardless of the fact if they're there or not, will be huge for the development of the Suns, with also adding to the fact that they just got their new G League. If Kolek isn't to pan out, you can always go develop there. But ultimately, I do think that he'll, get some running time with this team if he is drafted 22 overall and would be a, key piece for this future for the Suns. Ultimately, when looking at trading the pick, and if James Jones should trade the pick, I don't think that he should. I think that when we've talked about before, this team has no draft capital for the future, and I know that you might have to trade that 2031 pick or trade some second round picks alongside Nurkic's contract or Nazil Little's contract to shed some salary and to, help you out with some cap flexibility. But ultimately, I do think holding on to this 22nd overall pick this year is key. Possibly moving off that 2031 one might help you out, but then again, you're then strapped with no first round pick to 2032, and it just makes your future round picks more enticing and more appealing for opposing teams as they know that you won't be the strongest in that time and moment. And who knows, you might not even have the youth to develop or even draft players to build around that youth moment. So it's going to be tough for the Phoenix Suns to kind of find those diamonds in the rough. And ultimately, I think finding Kolek right now when you have a pick is the smart decision to do. Once again, drop down your thoughts. Drop down how you feel about this Phoenix Suns team down below in the comment section here. As you guys know, As you guys have mentioned, we bring up daily Phoenix Suns topics, news revolving around this team throughout the entire offseason. The draft is coming near us. It is less than 10 days away. CJ and I will have, videos leading up to the draft, hyping us up about prospects like we did today, talking about how Tyler Kolek comes, other names possible. We'll have videos coming out there. Then also, when free agency comes, not too long after, in July, we'll have stuff revolving around the team. Who are they going to be getting as veteran minimum guys? Are they going to be making any trades? We'll have everything revolving around this team covered here on Suns Digest. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date, if you guys want to make sure you stay enticed with all the news, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are less than 200 subscribers away from 1,000, and that would mean the world to us, as that has been our goal since the beginning of the channel. Once again, I'm Bruce Veliz. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode here on Suns Digest. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and go Phoenix Suns.